When you think about racing Mini Coopers these days, you think of only one name, that of Joe Huffaker, the 2000 and 2001 GT5 champion at these runoffs. He was on pole again 1 year ago. Off the drop of the green, Huffaker took over, checked out, in control all day. The rest of the field left to battle for position behind him. There was plenty of scrapping, beating, and banging. And some drivers didn't fare quite as well as they fought for silver and bronze. At the checkers, Huffaker had his hat trick and his 8th overall runoffs championship. Can he continue that dominance this year? Find out next here on Speed. The car everyone has to keep their eye on in GT5, the Black Mini, the 77 of Joe Huffaker. This season's Southern Pacific Division champion. 4 wins and 5 starts. He carries a 50-pound weight penalty. This is a rear drive Mini. Joe's certainly a driver we'll be watching here today. Another driver who may have the keys to victory lane, Dan Robson in his Mazda. Dan was the runner-up here 4 years ago. He's this season's Southeast Division champion. Another Mini in the field to watch, a front drive version, the 11 of Doug Peterson. He's been the runner-up here at the runoffs 3 times. All 3 times he's finished behind Huffaker. With some of the other key contenders, let's get it over to Calvin Fish.
Rick, one of the fun things about this class is the great diversity amongst the marques involved. Jack Becker's driving an Alfa Romeo, the same car that he drove to a podium finish here just last year. And Jack has had another fine season in the Midwest Division with 4 victories. But when I think about winning a national championship, it all comes down to experience. And there's nothing like having that national championship already in your back pocket. And that is certainly the case for Kirk Olsen. He's won here before back in 1998, and he returns in a slimmed-down version of this Honda CRX. It's been given a 100 pounds weight brake, and they're also running fuel injection for the very first time, which they hope will give them extra straightaway speed by having more torque off of the corners.
You're watching coverage of the SCCA's National Championships. It's the Valvoline Runoffs from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Today, coverage of the GT5 battle for the national title. With Calvin Fish, I'm Rick Benjamin, Brian Till, John Bizignano will be on pit road for us today as we bring you coverage of the GT5 event. And as Calvin mentioned, certainly some great diversity among the marques. Calvin, take us around this racetrack.
Well, this is one fun racetrack for these boys and girls this afternoon. It's all about handling, and these cars have plenty of that. You need to get through turn 1 this year really quick because you go straight now, no keyhole there, down into the keyhole turn. Turn 2, down the long back straightaway. They're going to hit about 145 miles an hour down here. Then through the twisty stuff, there'll be side-by-side action today. Through the fast stuff, and they're hoping to get to that start-finish line before anyone else and get that national championship.
Very competitive as always, very challenging. One of the racetracks in this country that is so tough on these drivers. 27 of them scheduled to go here today. Joe Huffaker and Doug Peterson make up the front row. Kirk Olsen, Jim Rauch have won championships behind. Robson, Iliohan, Jack Becker's been a champion. Bob Dowie in 11th, Ted Phoenix, Roy Lopshire. Gregory Holtz rounds out the first 20 qualifiers here today. Brad Lewis and Jim Wessel start in the 11th row with Daniel Pallinson and Keith Jones. Schick Brownlee and Chris Copley rounding up the field. Let's get more from pit road as we get set to begin the GT5 battle. First to Brian Till.
Oh, well, Rick, the weather is beautiful down here, and that's probably not good news for one William Brownlee. The only guy glad to see, or sad to see, I should say, that Hurricane Isabel has left. Why? Because he won the 1978 Ice Racing Championship in Quebec, Canada. The guy likes it when there's no grip around. And, you know, but seriously, even though he's riding shotgun on the field, he's here to have fun. And that's what the SCCA Runoffs is all about. Come here, race, have a good time. And this guy, he's been racing for a long time in the rain. Hey, he probably wouldn't have minded it. John?
Well, someone else having fun this weekend is Jay Iliohan. He has this beautiful Alfa Romeo. He says the biggest problem in competing in the very competitive GT5 class is the fact that they just don't know the car well enough. They got the car a few months ago. They've been running it all summer long. But even as early as the last qualifying session, they found some things that made him go faster. He hopes to be coming through the field towards the lead.
From Silver Creek, New York, a car they've had a couple of months, qualifying 6th, pretty good, Calvin Fish.
He really does, and what you like to see throughout a week is to see some progression or reduction in lap time, and he's improved every session out.
Getting set to roll him off in GT5. We'll be back for the green flag here on Speed. Today's Speed Channel coverage of the 40th anniversary SCCA National Championship Runoffs being brought to you by Valvoline. Valvoline, the #1 choice of top mechanics. Well, the GT5 machine's out on the racetrack. They're pace laps, Calvin Fish, before we get going. These are purpose-built race cars, aren't they?
They really are. They're heavily modified. It's the smallest of the GT classes, and I think Joe Huffaker put it best when he said it's like taking a GT1 car, putting it on a copy machine and shrinking it down in size. A lot of fun to drive, though.
And you've got rear drive minis, front drive minis, very different approaches to getting these cars to go quickly around here.
Absolutely. I mean, we got it right there on the front row. We got the rear wheel drive mini of Joe and then Doug Peterson in the front wheel drive. And in fact, Joe has to run a 50 pounds more weight there because of running a rear wheel drive. I think that's a bit more ideal.
Bad Nissan doesn't make mini.
Let's get down to Joe Bizignano.
Hey, let me tell you guys, Joe Huffaker has had it his way ever since we've been covering this races. He has the most beautiful rear wheel, drive mini you've ever seen. Of course, that's different than anyone that's made into production. But talking to Doug Peterson, he says, Joe's had it his way, but this time I'm really going to give him as much pressure as possible. There's 0.6 of a difference in qualifying. So I'll tell you, both of them have their work cut out for the next 20 laps.
And let's get more from downstairs. Brian Till.
You know, guys, on the racetrack, weight is always an issue, and Kirk Olsen is benefiting from a 100-pound weight break they've given him this year. Let's see if he can do anything. That should help him not only get the car down the straightaway a little bit faster, a little more top speed, but it should also help with braking and tire wear. Keep your eyes on him. Rick?
Calvin, in 20 laps around here, it's not quite 50 miles. Are tires an issue?
They certainly can be. If you abuse them or you have an imbalance in the race car, that can certainly be an issue. But right now, this front row really concerned about those guys on the second row. Kirk Olsen has horsepower advantage. Jim Rout, he has a sequential box in that Nissan. They think those guys can potentially wind up a bit faster. So the front row actually went out and practiced the start here in the warm-up. Let's see what they came up with.
That's Huffaker in the black 77. The yellow car is Doug Peterson's machine from Rescue, California. A couple of past champions in GT5. Huffaker has won the last couple, and we are about to get the green to begin 20 laps of racing. We're underway at Mid-Ohio.
Well, Huffaker got on the power early there, got a nice jump on Kirk Olsen, who's starting on the second on the blue machine in the inside lane there. But look at Rout, he's really moving around there, made a nice move there, takes away the third spot from Olsen, and it's Peterson in second spot right now, right behind Joe Huffaker, and they're used to duking it out here at the runoffs. As we mentioned before, Doug Peterson, 3 runner-up finishes every time behind Joe.
Heading over the hill for the first time of 20 laps here at Mid-Ohio. You've got great action all throughout the pack. The 60 of Brad Lewis there. Huffaker with about a 4-car length lead over Peterson, and they've started to stretch it out already.
Well, their concerns about the start, they don't have to worry anymore. They've got about a 6-car length lead over the rest of the pack right now. Now you see Joe Huffaker. He was one of the few guys who actually went faster in the third-round qualifying session here on Thursday when track conditions weren't ideal. So that was really a shock to the establishment. In fact, he was able to run a fast lap in those conditions. But a great battle right now. There we have the 0-0. That's Jim Rout, and that's Olsen all over the back of him.
As they come through the carousel onto the front straightaway, remember that the finish line is along the pit straightaway here at Mid-Ohio. The cars take the green over on the back stretch. Rock has won the runoffs a couple of years, 6 years ago, to be exact, as he tries to move closer to the leaders, but he's running third. He's got his hands full, really, with Olsen as they go up through the keyhole.
Yeah, and there you see, I mean, pretty even there. I mean, here comes Olsen a little bit at the end of the straightaway. He's running fuel injection on that Honda CRX this year. Whoa, he gets sideways, turns it around, lock the rear tires up, maybe on the downshift, maybe just under braking, and he spins it around and is losing positions mightily right now.
Kept it out of the gravel trap, though. That's a good thing for him for his chances of getting back in the race.
Well, he's going to need a lot of help now. He needs to get moving here quickly before he gets gobbled up by more cars, but this is really a big blow to Kirk Olsen's chance of a podium finish. In fact, I would say that's over. Let's look at the replay. Here he comes in, not really going for a move there, but locks it up, and then maybe doing the downshifts, locks up the rear end of the car and turns it around.
And because the car looked as though it hooked left before he went to the right to get into the corner.
Yeah, it really did. It's probably just braking, thinking about it. Front wheel drive there with a Honda, but here we have number 4, Dan Robson. He's had a couple of second place finishes here at the runoffs, looking for his first win, and that will certainly move him up there with Olsen's problems.
He was 5th last time they crossed the finish line. That should move him up to 4th. A little further back, the 44, Jack Baumgartner in that Mini with the checkerboard roof and the red paint scheme. He's right behind Jack Beck in the 29 as they go under the Mid-Ohio Bridge. Good battle for position a little further back. This is for 8th and 9th.
Well, Baumgartner's a local. He lives just a couple of miles down the road here in Mansfield, so he'll certainly know this racetrack very well running in this division, and that is really key. A lot of these guys coming from all over the country, some of them visiting Mid-Ohio for the first time, and this is one tough racetrack to learn.
Calvin, these cars being very low on horsepower, relatively speaking, how hard is it to pass in a GT5 car?
Well, it's all about momentum. It's not making a mistake and really keying on, where you need to be fast. I mean, with the fact we don't run through the loop here any longer and straight up into turn 2, that opens up a passing zone right here. They're hard on the brakes, and there we see Jack is just going to be patient, it looks like, at this point, and just tuck in behind the Alfa right in front of him, not try and make a move. But he's probably sizing him up right now, trying to see where he has an advantage over the Alfa. Got a good clean shot on the back straightaway. Now we'll look at the horsepower stakes, see what happened.
Back in that blue 29, that's the Alfa moving over to take a passing opportunity away from Baumgartner there in the 44.
You pretty much cut that dog leg. That's pretty much the normal line right now. If he was blocking, he'd go to the inside, but he's just a car length or so, car width or so away from the left edge of the track where you really ideally should be, using most of the road through here. You give up this turn a little bit, turn 5, the elevation change. You can't carry too much speed through here anyway. And now they're going to go trying to go side by side. And there you see Jack just sneaking a peek, trying to work him over a little bit.
Now this is for 7th spot, the white car that's just ahead running 6th. Peter Zeckert in that, number 20. He's up from 10th, and that is a Datsun 1200. You don't see too many of those cars in competition. The 74, Bill Brownlee, is on pit road.
The great thing about SCCA club racing is that it is truly a family sport. Ted Wollenson, I know you've been racing for years, and the whole family seems to be involved.
My wife used to race in GT5. We used to race against each other. My 3 children now all have competition licenses. And my daughter Erin this year bought a GT5 Mini, which she has been campaigning. And her goal is one of these days to beat me. I hope she does.
You keep talking about minis. It seems like you guys have had many minis.
I bought my first Mini in 1963, and I've owned Minis ever since. And I think right now I own 13 of them.
Wow, 13. He's looking to improve on his best finish of 6th at the runoffs this year and what they affectionately call the purple potamus.
13 minis, and he's running in 13th spot right now as we get back to the action. There's Wallison in that purple 0.
Pretty little car. I mean, what a classic. And now we're looking at these cars now. These are the original minis, of course. But speaking to Joe Huffaker this weekend, he said, I wasn't sure I'd coming back in this class, but we're seriously considering running the new Mini Cooper. So there may be some new cars on the way for next year.
Ted Walson, the Central Division champion 3 years in a row up through last year. 3 laps of 20 are complete. Wallison tried to get close to Roy Lopshire, who is 12th, about 2 seconds further ahead as he runs all alone. Huffaker's opened up the lead more than a second over Doug Peterson as they head toward the carousel. And boy, he's really on it through there.
He is. And what's really funny, if you look at the side of Joe's car, look how there's no window netting in the front. He actually got black flagged at one race this year because they said there's no window netting. He said, I sit in the back of the car, I'm so tall, I need it back here, not in the front. Let's go down to John Beers in the pits.
Leslie Huffaker, here we are again, same position.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice place to be, isn't it?
It is. Tell us what the year's been like in getting here this week.
Well, actually, you'd have to talk to the crew. Roy and Blake worked on the chassis, and of course our engine guys, Jim and Aaron, have been pulling a lot of hours in between customer cars and Trans Am cars, and of course Joe. So it's a lot of work, but it's always fun.
Some rumors about switching to the new body shape for next year. Bring us up to date on that.
I don't know those rumors. I just got in last night, and I heard a little bit of that rumor too, and I said, whatever. I just come along for the ride.
All right, she's here for the ride, guys. I think it's still a secret of exactly what's going on. Joe always knows at least 6 months ahead of what he's going to do.
Now that's a supportive racing spouse to say, whatever, I'm just here. Doug Peterson trailing in second spot by 1.1 seconds. Brian Till, does he have anything for Huffaker after 4 laps?
Well, that's a good question, Rick. Mike Kearney is the crew chief for Doug Peterson. Now, Mike, you guys have had this view of Joe several years in a row. Do you have anything for him this year?
Well, the guys back at 7 did a great job, gave us some more horsepower, and Goodyear gave us a great tire. We're looking forward to the second half of the race.
So you think it's going to happen in the second half? You're just going to lay back and save a little bit?
I think we're going to see if we can pace with Joe. If we can stay with him first half, then we'll go see if we can catch up and maybe make a move the last 5 laps.
Well, it's all about the end of the race. Then they're going to be trying to get closer to Joe. They will probably get closer to Joe himself than they will to the car. Like you said, Calvin, I think he sticks out the back of the thing.
Well, Peterson making it through the carousel, coming to the front straightaway. We look a little further back in the field. There's the 39. running a little further back right now in that Honda. In fact, he's back in 15th spot, so he's had a problem.
Yeah, he had that spin, if you remember, Rick, earlier going up into turn 2, so that cost him many track positions there, and he's trying to fight his way back to the pack. He's going to need help with a full caution period. Here we see a great battle going on from 11th spot. That's number 49, Ted Phoenix, currently leading that battle.
Oh, and Huffaker's off the racetrack.
Wow.
Going down toward turn 1, he stopped the car on the grass. So just as we were getting ready to hand him the medal, problems.
Wow, what a surprise. He was going for 4 in a row. He's dominated this class. Let's see what happens here. We have a replay of this. I would imagine it's just a mechanical. He strictly pulls it off to the side. Slowing down here. Peterson goes around him. And then he'll try and make the move to pit lane. And he wanted to make that move in about 15 laps. He wanted to make it first, but not at this end of pit lane.
John Bizignano with more on the Huffaker situation.
Leslie, what do you say to you?
Yeah, all he said was, we're done. And all I want to say is good luck, Doug Peterson. I hope you get it all.
That's a great camaraderie down here. They are two wonderful friends.
Doug Peterson's last win in this category, last national championship coming in 1989. And there goes the 77. 3 wins in 4 years in GT5. It will not be 4 for 5.
Well, as Joe's wife said there, I mean, we hope that Doug Peterson can bring this one home. They used to winning, not only with Doug driving, but also their engine shop contact. They've had so much success. They've had Atlantic programs over the year, but it doesn't come any bigger than that Indy 500 win back in 2000 with Juan Pablo Montoya, who's now going for an F1 World Championship.
Peterson in the 11. This is a traditional front drive mini. He's all alone out in front now. Let's grab a quick timeout. We'll be right back. They've been doing this for 4 decades at a couple of different venues. For several years, the home of the Runoffs has been Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We're at Lexington, Ohio on Speed. Coverage of the GT5 National Championship battle. With Calvin Fish, I'm Rick Benjamin, Brian Till, John Bizignano on pit road for us. And a huge sea change in GT5 moments ago. Pole qualifier Joe Huffaker led the first 5 laps easily, but something let go in the race car as he came under the flag stand to begin lap number 6. Brian Till.
Well, yeah, Joe Huffaker is sitting here. It looks like it might be a throttle linkage. He's going to be getting out here shortly, and I'm not sure my arms are long enough to reach back there to him. Joe, what was it?
Yeah, it was absolutely the throttle linkage. Unfortunately, it wasn't anything inside that I could deal with, but it's up under the hood, so I'm going to crawl out, take a look. I think we're done.
That's unfortunate. You know, Joe and I joke. He goes to a lot of races and builds a lot of engines for guys, and I always joke about how he gets in this thing. And I said, well, we'll see how you get out of it with your tall body. But I expected to see him doing it with a gold medal around his neck. Not to be today.
Boy, what a horrible disappointment to any of these teams at the Runoffs to have a mechanical problem like that so early in a race.
Well, it's so ironic. I mean, Joe built so many motors, has so much success, particularly in the Trans Am series. He's got 7 customers right now, leads Rookie of the Year with Jorge Diaz Jr. But right now, back on track. We have a great battle for 10th place going on with Phoenix right in the middle of it still.
Ted Phoenix has the spot in that yellow 49, one of the minis in the field. Right behind him is Bob Dowie there in the 98, that blue and white machine. And then third in line, the 97 of Roy Lopshire. So he's gotten right up into the thick of things in that red Nissan there. Nose to tail down the front straightaway.
And this is a very important corner. If you stick your nose in here and you don't make it stick, you're going to lose a lot of ground there. He had a little peak, and all of these cars run slightly different lines there. See Lopshire not using quite as much of the racetrack. That's going to hurt him on the exit there. A great battle going on for second. Jim Rout, the local. And he's got Robson right on his tail here, the number 4 machine. So these guys are battling it out. Doug Peterson has a healthy lead, about 7.5 seconds over these two right now. But this is for those final podium positions.
That Mazda there, the number 4. Again, great selection of brands that you see in GT5. One of the things that makes it so interesting. Looks like there's a little white smoke showing out on the back of the 00 route.
Yeah, that could be a problem. We still have a long ways to go in this one. Only 7 laps down, of course. And there you see it come up over the hill. We see it again there. This could be real problems for Jim. He's had shifter problems. He's got a sequential shifter in that car. He's had shifter problems this week, but that's not going to be a shifting issue. That's probably more motor related.
So if you're in the 4 car, if you're Robson, Cal, I would imagine you'd be thinking, I'm just going to stay back and see what develops here. No need to press with more than half the race still to go.
Well, if you had a leader who's maybe just a couple of seconds in front, but he realizes that Peterson's checked out here a little bit, so wow, and then you see him sliding wide, so maybe there is some fluid going down from that 0-0 machine. So, but so many times, sometimes these things can't have a way of fixing themselves. It's unusual with a motor-related problem, but you need to pounce when there's an opportunity. We have another great battle here going on for 4th spot.
The 59 car, Jay Illahan, we talked about him earlier. Jack Baumgartner alongside him now in that Mini in the 44 as they head up toward the keyhole. The 44 car on the outside, he's got the advantage, I think.
Well, and he's trying to get back over the inside line, but Alpha's sticking it out there, so this is good. Jay Illahan, he knows this racetrack too. There's the local boy. Baumgartner, he makes the move stick. Great job there, up to 4th spot.
Is that front-wheel drive traction on the outside?
Well, it's, you know, you've got different configurations here, and I was surprised that he was able to tighten the lineup out of 1 and actually get alongside him on the run down to 2 and then make it stick on the outside. So he's been working all these guys up, and look at the Alpha come back around the outside, so he has some straightaway speed there, unless Baumgartner missed a shift halfway down the straightaway.
Illahan in the 59 car moving back to take that position, but here comes Baumgartner right back at him as they head up the hill into the S's.
Now this can be frustrating. We've got a better handling car like the Mini is, and you can be in that horsepower a little bit down that long back straightaway as a real cat and mouse chase right now, and it's all about being in the right position on that last lap. So you'll be thinking this through now. It's all about strategy here when you got these cars with different performance levels.
Baumgartner in the 44, that's the Mini with the checkerboard roof. Heading up the short straightaway here, it will be halfway and another lap. They're working lap 9 right now. And Illahan in that Alpha, great story that they just got that car a couple of months ago. And Robson running in 3rd spot. He's gone around. He's on the grass, so he'll give up 3rd. That moves the 59 of Illahan up to 3rd spot. Robson gets back on the racetrack. He only lost 3 or 4 spots.
Well, maybe there is some fluid going down. We're going to look at the replay here. He's right behind me. Gets sideways and gets lucky to get away with it here. This is one ultra-fast corner. 2nd fastest turn on the whole racetrack there. Turn 11, so he saves it. Loses a couple of positions, but he's dropped back, and that's going to elevate the rest of the field now. Illahan now up into that final podium position as we speak.
Look who's right behind him. Kirk Olsen, who spun up in the keyhole on the first couple of laps. He's climbed to 7th. He wants 6th, and he's right alongside Robson for the spot. He gets him.
Wow, I said there was no way he'd make his way back to the podium. Definitely wrong there.
Doug Peterson in the yellow Mini here with the black roof, car number 11. He's got an 8.1 second advantage. Halfway next time by at Mid-Ohio.
There's more action coming up as the Valvoline Runoffs Christmas Marathon continues on Speed.
Peter Zeckert has been racing for over 20 years, and for the past dozen of those years, he's been running this Datsun 1200. Peter, I got to ask you, okay, you're the fastest of the 2nd tier within your class, but you know you're not going to win. What's that like?
Well, my job is to go out there and race against the new cars, and if I beat new cars, I've really put them in their place.
The emotion that you must have contact with this automobile. I mean, it's from the 70s.
Yeah, it's my baby, my toy, and my job is to go out there, race it as hard as I can, hang on for dear life, and see how far we can go up in the grid.
Well, last year you had one of the best races of the entire weekend.
Yes, we were racing in a hard-fought position for 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and we were all grinning ear to ear. We were happy. We made it. We probably got as much TV time as Joe Huffaker in the lead did.
Well, Biz was just a 30-year-old boy when this thing was made.
Just a pup.
Just a pup.
Barely out of diapers.
But what a performance. 70s car, and he's up into the 8th spot right now.
Up from 10th on the start. Gained a couple of positions. Running all by himself right now. We'll take you a little deeper in the field here. Show you some of the other action taking place in GT5. Leaders have gotten the halfway signal. 10 to go. Peterson running laps of 141. Had an opportunity earlier, Calvin. I was going to point out the times. Peterson knocking off laps a second quicker than just about anybody else. Further back, this is Jim Riley in the 31. He's running in 17th spot. Brian Floyd right behind him in 18th there in the 2. And again, you've got a couple of different cars. You've got a Mini and that blue number 2 machine. That is a Datsun 1200, one of several of those cars in the field.
Another one of those old cars, and local boy. He's from Cincinnati, so he runs in this region. He'll have some track knowledge, certainly, and just great to see everyone. it's all about results. It's all about winning, certainly, but the result is being here in the first place,
sure,
and competing. And even though they're a bit further back in the pack, they're having their day out there, and what a great track condition to be in. We had that hurricane move through here early yesterday, but right now, perfect racing conditions, sort of like high 60s.
If you're watching and you're not familiar with SCCA national level competition, these are the best of the best from all over the country. These are regional champions in most cases in their own right.
Exactly, and typically you say, well, to win a race, you need to first win a race. All of these guys have won races at one time and another.
Yeah.
You can have a guy battling away in 10th spot, and he won 6 races in his division this year. So this is the cream of the cream. That's what it's all about, with the national championships on the line. But the number 11 is looking strong out front right now, Brian Tell.
He sure is looking strong now. Mike Kearney, Doug's won this thing before, and you were just telling me, yeah, that's right, Brian, but we got a long way to go.
We sure do. These are the hardest 10 laps that we've had in a long time. Doug's last championship, 89, the Fortec Mini. Let's see if he can bring it home.
You need to get medical down here to check your pulse?
I think so. I'm going to be happy man.
I think he's a nervous man right now is what I think he is, Rick.
He sounded very calm when you spoke to him earlier when Huffaker had that substantial lead, and obviously the Huffaker car has broken. Peterson 10 seconds out in front. Calvin, if you were behind the wheel of the 11 car, would you be backing out of it a little bit with a huge lead like that?
Certainly be pacing, and I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing laps typically in the 141 second range, unless there's traffic involved, and he ran a lap almost 2 seconds faster than that earlier in the going, so he has more speed potentially, but you never know. You get full caution, you don't want to tear the car down and have nothing left if you have a 2-lap restart, something late in the going.
11 laps on the board. Looked like there was a little smoke in that corner last time by. Perhaps somebody had problems. Let's check back in with Robson running 7th. And he's gotten by Jack Beck in the 29, so give him 6th. Of course, the score. Oh, and it looks like it blew up big time on Robson. Maybe broke a hose or something there, but he spins off the racetrack in a cloud of white smoke.
Well, maybe he was leaking fluid of his own that caused him to turn around in that fast left-hander a couple of laps ago, but that was a big moment. He's not picking the wisest spots to have these moments around this racetrack. He'll have heart failure if that keeps going on.
You see the brake lights on there. He's got the brakes locked. He had just passed Jack Beck for 6th. Take another look at it.
It comes in here, and then you see the steam coming out of the left front fender there, and just douses the car down with some kind of fluid, and he turns it around as he gets on the brakes there for turn 9.
As much white smoke as there is, you think that's coolant probably.
You would think so, and he's not moving anywhere in a hurry. So corner workers come out. They'll be under local caution right now into turn 9.
12 laps of 20 are complete. Doug Peterson with an 11-second lead here in GT5. Trouble for the driver who was running 6th. We'll be back. 8 laps remain in GT5 competition at the SCCA's runoff. Show you some of the excitement we've seen so far. That was an early on spin by Kirk Olson, who qualified 3rd. Was trying to get toward the lead up at the keyhole. Joe Huffaker led from the pole, bidding for his 4th win in 5 years in that 77 car. And the throttle linkage gave up after 5 laps at the head of the field. Huffaker out of the car, under the hood to take a look and see if he can determine what's wrong. But he is done for the afternoon here at Mid-Ohio. Take a look at some of the other action we have seen. Daniel Robson spinning. We thought it might be an oil, perhaps, from the 00. Jim Rock was running 2nd. They were fighting for that spot. But a little later on, as you will see, he will have his own problems. This is the 98 car going around to turn 1. Several drivers had to grab the brakes pretty hard. He was able to back that car off the grass. And here's what just happened. Moments ago, the 4 car of Robson around and on the grass, apparently with a blown motor of some sort, blown hose at the very least. So that's just some of the action we've seen here at GT5. 13 laps complete, and Peterson still with an 11-second lead in the keyhole.
He's looking really smooth out front right now, and there we see one of that battle we saw a little bit earlier on. I think that's Phoenix there. Is it possibly in the 49?
That's the 2 car running 15th, Brian Floyd. He's got some help there with him, the 31, Jim Riley. That's the yellow Mini that you see. And they're trailing the 5, Greg Hotz's car. That's the car that's forward in your screen from where these two have been battling just about all afternoon.
Yeah, it's a great little battle going on here, and that's what you're going to see in every category, in every race here at the runoffs. There's going to be a battle somewhere through the field. And what I love about these GT classes is the variety of the cars. Rick, really leads to, you know, there's to and fro, and there's constant to senior effect, and Olsen is really over the back of Baumgartner. I said he couldn't make it to the podium. He's making a liar of me right now, battling it out for that final spot right now. Heavy on the heels of Baumgartner as they head down through the S's, up into 7, 8, and down towards turn 9.
I like Baumgartner in that mini, though. Boy, he is really flying up through there. He is third right now, and you've got to give Olsen all the credit after the spin. I figured, Calvin, he had fallen back perhaps to 12th or 13th spot. That would mean he's gained 8 positions so far.
And he currently has the fastest lap of the race, second faster than the leader ran early on, a 38.2. That's phenomenal in these track conditions. 37.9 was the pole after 3 sessions, so he's almost on the pole qualifying time as he battles his way back to the front.
That's Olsen in the Honda, trailing behind the 44 car Baumgartner, and they've closed in. That's Jim Rock in the 00 just in front. So you've got second, third, and fourth nose to tail. And here comes Baumgartner in the 44. He's taking a more inside line in turn 1.
I don't really get that. I mean, you want to use all of the radius you can on the entry there. You want to carry as much speed. I mean, he's not slow by any stretch. And now he's pointing. Maybe he realizes that Olsen is coming, has a lot more horsepower as he goes to the inside under braking. This is where he had the problem before. He locks him up again. You saw some smoke there on the right rear corner of Olsen's car, but let's go down to biz with a report on the 00 machine.
Lee Yarsky is the crew chief for this beautiful 00 Nissan. You just talked to your man saying that the leader is slowing down about a second a lap. 6 laps to go. Are you going to be able to do anything?
I don't know. It sounds like from Scotty's report on the back, we might have cracked another head or two. We've dropped about 2 seconds a lap starting about 6 laps ago. So Jack's going to reel us in unless he and Olsen get into each other, but we'll keep fighting.
You gonna have a problem with temperatures with that problem?
No, it just drops so much power on a 4-cylinder motor, you lose about a third of it.
They're going to try and bring that beautiful 00 Nissan home, hopefully in second place.
Boy, he's got his mirrors full right now, though, Calvin Fish. The 39 of Kirk Olsen all over him for second spot.
Yeah, Olsen has already cleared Baumgartner from when they last went by the pits there, so he's going to really put the pressure on now and see if he can take that silver medal position away, and he tucks it to the inside. They come off a 9. He's got more horsepower. He should be in a good track position there, and Rout just lets him have it. Nothing he can do.
Great move off that corner. Good exit speed there to get the run down the short straightaway.
Good driving and really kept his head together there, and there he gets a little bit wide there. I don't know why he doesn't run the inside line there, but it's tough for me to complain about his driving when he's made a move from the back of the field all the way to the front.
Was he just carrying too much speed into that corner?
Possibly. I mean, if you run a straight line break into the carousel, you can go in a little bit deeper, and it actually gives you an ideal line to get a shot up there. But now, he must have a mistake there, maybe with a shift or something, because Rout came from nowhere there to grab the second position back from him.
Great battle for second, third, and fourth. Rout in the 00. The 39 of Kirk Olsen, Jack Baumgartner in the 44, and they're still together. And here comes the 39 on the inside.
Locking that rear up under braking. These little cars probably don't.
Baumgartner taps the 39.
That cost him. He must have a shifting problem. So we saw him lose ground on the front straightaway, and now we're seeing it here again. He probably went for a lower gear, couldn't find it. Now he's back underway. I would have to say that's transmission difficulties in the CRX.
Is it possible that he just lost a gear, maybe lost fourth or third?
That's possible, I mean, but it looked like he maybe fumbled for a gear and couldn't find it there in the keyhole.
So after all that plays out, Jim Rock is back in second. 5 to go in GT5.
When you come to the SCCA Runoffs, there's over 20 acres of paddock area to cover, and whether you're a competitor, a driver, whether you're even working for television, that's a lot of ground to cover, so you'll see a lot of interesting modes of transportation to get people around the paddock area. Some people bring motorcycles. You even have guys who bring four-wheelers or electric cars. There are people with bicycles and golf carts and all kinds of scooters. But for me, if I'm sitting here having some water and I need to go somewhere in a hurry, it's all the better if I can just leave with what I'm sitting on.
Now, Calvin, you think there's an anatomical reason why Brian did so well on that?
That's obviously a two-seater, and Brian fills it up.
Oh my. Let's check back in on the battle for second. Jim Rock on the 00 took advantage of problems for Kirk Olsen as they came to this place on the racetrack the last time around. Baumgartner in that red Mini, the 44, sitting in third, and he's kind of lost contact with Rock. We thought Rock might have a problem. I guess not.
We did. I mean, his crew chief said that he's lost about 30% power. He's still turning in some pretty decent lap times there. Last lap through, it was a 40.4. That's only 2/10 off his best, so he certainly hasn't lost 30% of his power. But let's go down to Biz in the pits.
Actually, Brian Till's got more on the story with Jack Baumgartner. Brian?
Well, I'm sitting here with Jim Vicente. Jim, Baumgartner doing a great job. Does he have enough to get to the podium?
We got a pretty good engine in there. I don't think he's got enough to catch Peterson, but he might be able to get Rock yet. He's running awful strong. and he seems to come on good late in the races. So I think he'll do okay.
Looking for a podium. That precious metal is nice at the end.
Yes, it is. Certainly is. We got it one year, and we're hoping to get it again this year. So we hope for at least a podium finish.
Well, there you have it, guys. They're going at least for the podium, but that heaviest metal of all, that's the one they really want.
Well, Jack Baumgartner just about put that car into the trees coming down the hill last time.
He was working it over there, coming up over 5 over the crest of the hill, but he's actually closed the gap here on the 0-0, and they hit the stripe. We'll see what sort of lap times they're putting in. I mean, Radke just turned his almost his fastest lap of the race, second fastest lap that he's had underneath him, and as he turns there, he lost half a second, and that has allowed Baumgartner to close the gap by 1/2 seconds, so he has a little bit more speed on that lap. Let's see how it goes for the last 3 or 4.
Working lap 18 of 20 today here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. It's the SCCA's Valvoline Runoffs, the 40th renewal. We'll take a quick timeout, come back and show you the finish here in GT5. Welcome back on Speed with Calvin Fish. I'm Rick Benjamin, Brian Till, and John Bizignano on pit road. Coverage of Grand Touring 5 in the SCCA's Valvoline Runoffs. And there's your race leader, Doug Peterson, started alongside the pole sitter, Joe Huffaker. Huffaker's car had problems 5 laps in after he had led from the start. Peterson took over, Cal, and nobody's come within 10 seconds of it.
But it's been a long race for him. When you get that bigger lead that earlier in a race, this is going on forever for Doug. I mean, he's won 5 national championships, but it was 1989 when he had his last one, as you mentioned earlier. And I'm sure he's hearing every noise in the engine. He builds motors. He knows what it's all about, and he's just trying to drive at a pace. He's still running pretty good lap times in the 1:42 range. We saw a 38 from Olsen a little bit earlier, so certainly not the fastest car on the track right now, but he's doing what he needs to do with that healthy lead.
He'll get the 2 to go sign. This is the race for second spot. Jim Rock in the 00. Jack Baumgartner in that Mini, the 44, the red car. These two have been going at it for quite some time.
This is a fascinating little battle here, and that Mini is such a cool little car, and he's really starting to put the pressure on now on that Nissan 200 SX that has some great performance as well, good straightaway speed, but as we know, is a little wounded right now, and let's see what Baumgartner does here. Typically doesn't track all the way out. Really not loading the car up too much there, maybe a little bit more speed. Maybe he's using a gear ratio that really doesn't allow him to use much more speed than that through that corner. But here we go. He's up into the braking zone, just feeling them out, and he realizes that time is running down. Now he's got to look for a gap and make it stick and then hold him off.
They'll get the 1 to go sign next time by. This is the backstretch at Mid-Ohio. The gap just a couple of tenths between these two cars. Last lap, Baumgartner ran it the 4 tenths quicker than Rock did. They got close, but on the straightaway, you can see that the Nissan's got a little more power, I think.
He does, so it's going to be through this twisty section. We see some smoke there on the track as our leader now goes down through the bottom of the S's. He has about a lap and a half to go there to claim this gold medal. And that's Doug Peterson, nice and tidy. Everything looks good. The battle is behind him for those final podium positions, but looks clear sailing. He'll be looking ahead, and here we have that battle for second. Rack still holds him off, but this is where Baumgartner will be faster here. This is not ideal. You can't try and really pass into this corner. Let's see if he takes a lunge. Okay, he's going to set him up here, try and get a good shot through 9, and now he does it. Gets on the power early, tucks it to the inside, but now that Nissan has got the horsepower. Can he hold him off? And I think he will. He takes the line back away as they enter turn 11. They're going to come down into the carousel. Baumgartner realizes he's got just over a lap to do. Let's see if he tries to make a move to the outside and swing it back tight as they come into the carousel turn.
In some ways, you do have the advantage, I would think, if you're trailing in a battle like this, because you can set a line that might carry you by if you get your momentum up appropriately.
But Jim Rugg is a local. I mean, he knows this racetrack. Yeah. He'll know what to do on this final lap. He's going to be able to be really smart now, position the race cars. Not so much blocking, but being one step ahead of your competition and place that car is going to be a long way for Jim Baumgartner to go around.
Baumgartner also a home tracker. He's from Mansfield, Ohio, so both these guys certainly know their way around here. Lap traffic could be a factor here.
You got it right. We got a lot of traffic in front of these boys as they try and finish off this final lap here at Mid-Ohio, and leader is still out front. Doug Peterson about 11 seconds in front of this battle, and there he is. He goes down the end of the back straightaway. That's where he's at as those guys come down the back straightaway. He's already into the S's. Looks like he's cleared the traffic nicely. Not too many worries in front of Doug Peterson. He just needs that car to keep running, but here's the battle. They clear a couple of the cars around the 2 car. We saw him in the thick of it, Brian Floyd. And now Baumgartner goes to the outside. He'll have the inside line for the next corner. He takes it away.
Wow,
Can
what a move.
Jim Rugg Retaliate here and get anything back. Baumgartner on the power early. We still have cars in front of them. This will be a factor as they head over to turn 9.
I'll bet you that Baumgartner's going to have trouble here getting by the lapped cars if he hits them in the wrong place. Peterson heading toward the carousel. Final time around for the driver of the 11 car. The main man at Comtech coming to the line. The crew says, come on, baby. Gold medal is waiting.
He can kick it in neutral and make it from here with the lead he has. He had an 11-second lead on the last lap, and there it is, Doug Peterson.
Peterson is your winner at Grand Touring 5 at the 40th SCCA Runoffs. For second spot, meantime, Baumgartner looks as though he may have it. We'll see. He's being shown alone. Yes, Baumgartner holds on. Great pass, Calvin, as he came to the hill on the backside of the racetrack.
That was one awesome race. I mean, Doug Peterson had it all his own way up front once Joe retired, but we had a great battle there for the other podium positions.
Sure did. Brian Till.
Well, Mike Kearney getting congratulations of everybody, and you don't think that the emotions run deep down here. Mike, tremendous job by all of you guys, and certainly by Doug out on the racetrack. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. I've been looking for it for a long time. 89. Got like 5 seconds, but it's our first championship since 89, so Doug's the man today. Thank you very much.
Well, you can have your Indy 500 guys and all the emotion that it brings with it, but for the runoff and some of these guys, it's as good as Indy.
Well, Peterson benefited certainly when Joe Huffaker's car broke, but he'll take it, I'm sure, Calvin.
That was a superb performance. He knew that he had his hands full with Joe Huffaker today. He was just trying to stay on his tail and be in with the shout at the end, but all went wrong for Joe today, and Doug picks up the pieces. But, you know, he's had races that have gotten away from him, so he didn't, you know, walk into this one. He deserved it.
12 seconds is the final margin of victory, but Jack Baumgartner in the other mini, the red 44 car, made that great pass and was able to hold off Jim Rout for second spot. Let's get it back downstairs.
Well, Jim Vicente, crew chief for Jack Baumgartner, you guys willed him on, and what a great pass he put on there at the end. You have to be thrilled.
Oh, just tickled to death. He done one hell of a job driving. He really did. We had a lot of trouble this week. We lost our good engine. We had to put a backup engine in. We worked all night changing it, and it was worth it. And he done well.
And as a local boy, a lot of fans around, I'm sure.
Oh yes, we got a lot of fans in this area. We sure do. Yeah, they're all a lot of them up there rooting for Jack, I'm sure. So yeah, it was a great second place he got.
Well, a tremendous performance by all these guys, especially considering they're driving such little cars, guys.
Well, Jack Baumgartner really put on a clinic there, I think, Calvin. He worked traffic perfectly.
Well, he won over the other local boy there. Great performance. So we have a front-wheel drive, then a rear-wheel drive mini.
We'll come back with more of the stories of GT5 in a moment. Today's Speed Channel coverage of the 40th anniversary SCCA National Championship Runoffs being brought to you by Valvoline. Valvoline, the #1 choice of top mechanics. Let's talk to our winner. Brian Till is in victory lane.
Well, Doug Peterson, congratulations. Mike Kearney is going to come in here, and not a better person to give you the gold medal. I know you guys have worked hard together. Tremendous run.
Great, thanks a lot. I'm sorry Joe broke so early because I thought we were going to have a good race, but you take them any way you can get them.
Oh, absolutely you do. And you've looked at the back of Joe Huffaker's Mini for many years, I should say. What were the emotions that you felt when you saw him go out?
Well, like I say, I really was not happy because I was looking forward to having a good run with him. But like I say, sometimes that happens, and take it any way you can get it.
Absolutely. Any other problems with the car after that? You got a big lead, hard to keep the concentration?
Yeah, I mean, the car ran flawlessly all day. The Goodyear came up with a new compound that worked outstanding for this car, and it was super smooth the whole way.
Well, we've heard it more than once. It's not just the car that makes it go, it's the tires that make it go too. You got to have the good tires on it to get it around the racetrack and bring it in and take that gold like Doug Peterson has around his neck. John Bisognano?
Jack Baumgartner, persistence out there. Did you think you were going to get him?
No way. I didn't have enough power to get to the front. But I was just really glad I did what we did. We've been fighting engines all week, and we're just so excited to finish where we did, you know.
His experience with the track, there's no way you could get around him. It looked like he zipped it up every time you got nearby.
Right, that's right. But it's a great run, and I got to thank George Boffman at Midwest Motorsports. He helped build us an engine, man. And Jim Bazzini and Mark and Dudley Coleman.
Is that what made the pass the motor?
Not really, but it sure helped.
Congratulations on just a wonderful, wonderful, persistent drive.
Well, thank you.
Jim, I got to ask you. Now, listen, you are the local talent around here. You zipped it up every time anyone got near you, but that Mini in front of you was just too far away.
Yep, he was gone, long gone.
What about your motor problems?
We ended up breaking a header about halfway through. I think I'm about half deaf in my right ear right now. It was awful loud in the car, but it was a good race. It's just tough.
Would your Nissan have had enough power to get by there if you wouldn't have had that problem?
I think it would have made a big difference if we hadn't had a cracked header on it. That put you down a few horse.
Look for this next year.
Well, it was a terrific battle. Jim Rock gets credit for third spot, even though he was obviously suffering motor-wise. Doug Peterson carrying the checkered flag, his first GT5 win at the Runoffs 20 years ago, 1983. Second came in 89, now again in 2003. Jim Bradley gets 11th, Holtz and Floyd. Bill Gilcrease is 21st, Bill Brownlee 22nd. Chris Copley rounds out the field. Great run, GT5 most entertaining. Kirk Olson spun, came back, finished fourth. Joe Huffaker from the pole led the first 5 laps before the throttle linkage gave up. Great run. Hope you enjoyed our coverage. For John Bizignano and Brian Hill, for Calvin Fish, I'm Rick Benjamin. Congratulating your winner, Doug Peterson in GT5. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time here on Speed.